Hello Virgo, welcome back to Path of Enlightenment Tarot. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. For those of you who are new, welcome. I am Nicole. Virgo, so this is a whole different series of readings that I've done than I've ever done before. This is going to be titled What Your Inner Child Wants You to Know. So we're diving into some of those deeper connections of the self, what it is within us that needs to be healed and or addressed. I would place this for your sun, your moon, and your rising Venus if you would feel that that's where it resonates for you. But the inner child work, right? We all have things that need to be healed and addressed. That's part of our journey here in this world. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right on into this, Virgo, and see what it is that Spirit's highlighting for you at this time when it comes to your inner child. So, all right, Spirit, let's do this. For January, for Virgo, what is it that their inner child needs to know? I hope you guys are doing well and fantastic. All right, Virgo. For some of you, you could have some resentment around maternal figures in your life, stemming, they're saying a couple of decades, but I also feel like that has to do with lifetimes as well. So this could be something that's come up from other lifetimes for you that needs to be healed. Yeah, fragments coming out. Again, Virgo, this is like, I can't help but go back to the maternal aspects of something here. You could deal with feminine energies in your life that tend not to take the blame and or responsibility. It doesn't matter if you yourself, male, female, them, they, however you identify, it's completely irrelevant. But the maternal aspect of your life, I feel like you were always probably in a space of a caretaker role, or feeling like you had to be the one that was responsible for everybody's well-being. And, you know, when we have maternal figures in our life that fail to nurture or give us that substance when we are young, we have to learn how to take care of ourselves, right? Or we all, you know, if like you think about, like, if you have 3 kids, your firstborn is usually the mature one who is the go-getter, who goes after, right? There's a difference in the positioning of what is expected of each individual child based upon when they were born, right? So it's like, whether or not, though, you were the firstborn, I feel like there is a point where you had to kind of step up to the plate and take responsibility, potentially for the fact that maybe maternal figures were absent. You know, we can call it abandonment if you want to. You know, maybe they were working. They had to provide a single family household, right? Or a single parent household, where they were the provider. Or maybe emotionally they just were not available. Mentally, like, you couldn't talk to them. Emotionally, you couldn't talk to them. Like, whatever it was. But I do feel like you learned how to be the listener or the caretaker or the responsible person. I'm lacking a word. I know I'm looking for something else here, but it's not coming through. That had to take care of the brunt of everything. So, you know, you could have been 12, 13, doing the laundry, taking care of your brothers and sisters, whatever, but needing to be the responsible person in the situation. Revolution and rediscovery, there's those, you know, 2 re's there in efficiency. I feel like, Virgo, that part of this is the fact that it's never been you taking time for you, never you taking the time to have a, Spirit is using the word resurgence of your own needs, right? Like, if you're putting everybody else first, where do you have time in that to take care of you? And I feel like for some of you Virgos, not all of you, substance abuse could have plagued the household as children, or maybe that is something that you fell into yourself, whether it was like smoking weed or something, you know, something like that, right? Like, just whatever coping mechanism you could use to get through the day, like, that was your form of self-care. And I will say to you, to others of you, you know, maybe it's food, maybe it's shopping, maybe it could be lots of things, right? That we use to create some kind of emotional stability in our world. And that was like, it was whatever made you feel or makes you feel like that's where you're effective in things. Whatever it was that made you, even if it was a false sense of security that brought in what you felt like was some kind of balance, that's what you tend to lean into. So with this revolution and rediscovery coming out in the reverse, it's like, I'm going to go just the opposite, right? Like, not looking at how these changes can make a difference in your world. And I'm going to say, I do feel like if you dealt with somebody in your life that's kind of put you in a position where you didn't have control, if you're a kid, right, you only can do what you can do, it becomes a form of survival at that point. But they had the option to change their ways, right? And I don't feel like they've done that. In this pattern that comes up, like whatever they dealt with or couldn't deal with, their scenario, and then what it was within that they weren't willing to address, that's something that you seem to be carrying forward with you, and you try your damnedest, bless you, to work through that the only way that you know how. It's the tools that we're taught, right? Like how we learn how to cope with our emotions. Some people do fall to alcohol. Some people fall to food addiction. Some people fall into gambling. Some people fall into codependent relationships, right? It's as humans, it's what we do. But we also have a lot of tools available to us, especially today. Our mental health environment, I guess, for lack of a better word. There's a lot more light shed on it, but there's still a lot of finessing to it that can be done. So, but know that learning those other coping mechanisms are going to benefit you in the long run, because whatever residual aspects you're dealing with from probably a maternal figure in your life that you've carried forward, it's kind of like trying to sift through those. Kind of reminds me of like breadcrumbs, but like it's still like stuck to the bottom of your shoe, like you can't quite get rid of it kind of vibe. So unfortunately, we get left in a position to have to clean that shit up because of something that we've had to endure, but it's the choice that you have to make those changes. So that's what's coming through right off the bat. So let's see what else, Virgo. What else does Virgo need to know, Spirit? I feel like, what other deck? You know what? I'm going to take this card, but I want to use this other deck. Woman holding coin door to value. Finances related, stability, security, that root chakra energy, value, our worth. I feel like for some of you, Virgo, and this may not resonate with everybody, 6 is standing out heavily. Somebody could have bought love and attention. Like that was their love language, was to buy or to give. Rather, it's like, how do you look? How do you stand out in the world? Like that, I don't want to call it a facade, but that exterior picture, whether it was vanity, like, wearing makeup, having your beard cut a certain way, the way you dressed, something to that effect is like, that shows who you are. That's what you were taught. That's what shows the world who you are. And there was a lot of focus on that. Like that taught you your value. So without those things, those tangible things, it's like you lose a sense of identity. Okay? Like I hope that's jiving the way that's coming through. But it's almost like you forget to look at the emotional side of things sometimes. To even think about the emotional side of things. To step into something that's not cold. Like she reminds me, she gives me the vibes of like every queen in the tarot deck but the Queen of Cups. Like that's the one thing that she's lacking. She's got her pentacle. Look at her, she's very sharp, right? So Queen of Swords energy, and then that Queen of Wands, she's got that cat, just like the Queen of Wands in the tarot, the original tarot. So she's got everything but that cup. So it's like the one thing that's lacking in that card. All right, what else does Virgo need to know, Spirit? For justice comes out sideways. It's another 6, so 666. It's not the number of the devil. Google it, okay? Everyone's like, oh my God, the 6s. It's okay. It's okay. I almost feel like, Virgo, the maternal figure in your world could have looked down on you, could have kind of picked you apart. Like, it gives me the vibes of like, that's what you're wearing today. Where do you think that's going to get you? Very snarky kind of energy. That's all the more you've got to give. You got to do better than that. Very hard, very harsh kind of energy. Like a real high expectations. And I kind of feel like that's what you carry forward with you, is this level of high expectations that you have to be, whether it's a perfectionist or you've got to do it a certain way or talk a certain way or be a certain way. That is the conditioning. And it's like someone does not see that there's more. There's the emotional plane and there's the spiritual plane that's attached to this. Or should be, anyhow, right? Destiny sitting on the bottom of after that card, and it's like, it could be very much a family trait that you had to be a warrior your way through specific things or ways of being. It's like, this is the only way. This is the legacy that this family leaves behind, and here's the torch. You have to carry this a certain way. You have to have this prominent job. You have to be this prominent person. You can't settle for less. And, you know, typically I'd say, yeah, don't settle on anything that's less than what you want to achieve. But I want to say to you, Virgo, is this what you want to achieve? Or is this, you know, maybe they told you you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and you're like, well, I really like to paint. They're like, what kind of living are you going to make painting? Where are you going to make money in that? How are you going to be successful in that? So you've taken on this role in a position that is like prestige, you know, could be considered prestigious depending on where you are, right? Or what you do. And that's like their idea of a legacy. But what is the legacy that you want to leave behind one day? You know, for your kids, your grandchildren, whatever this is. So it's like taking your values and your beliefs of who you truly are, fear and generosity, bond, and making them, make those visions yours instead of envisioning somebody else's achievements of who you're supposed to be. Spirit just keeps bringing up the idea of failure. You cannot fail at what it is that you do. And there's a fear of kindness. So this could be untrusting of people and situations that it's almost like, I hate to go beneath, but people that are maybe 1331 on the clock, people that have less than, we'll call it, right? Maybe Sarah down the road drives a BMW, right? But you drive a Rolls Royce. Well, her Beamer isn't as good as your Rolls Royce, so it's like, but she's really freaking nice. She's very loving, very kind. It's like there's a fear around that level of intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I want to explain this. There is an intimacy between every single person in this world. And it's not on a romantic and sexual level. I remember when the pandemic started, I was that person out buying paint. Sorry, that was me. I was remodeling. And I went to the store, and there's a reason I'm sharing this story with you so you understand why I'm saying this level of intimacy. I go to the store, everybody's got their mask on, there's like, 5 people in there, and here I am short, I'm literally like 4'11", guys, I'm not very tall whatsoever. There's this real tall guy, and I look up, and I look at him like in the eye, because our eye contact is the greatest form of intimacy on an emotional level, to see into someone's soul that we will ever have. And I look up at this guy, and he was so scared to even make eye contact. Like, we were so immersed in this fear. And you see her, her eyes are covered. She doesn't want to see. It's like the Eight of Swords, like this imaginative demon that comes up because we aren't familiar with something. It scares the hell out of us, right? So it's like seeing somebody act in a true, genuine, loving manner, who is just generous and loving, is like the biggest fear. You could be a person who maybe your partner likes to hold hands or sits on the couch with you, or your kids are loving and want hugs, and you're just like, ooh, that's not my thing, right? And I'm not saying that there's a right or a wrong way when it comes to that, but that level of fear of that closeness sits within. That it's hard to believe that somebody would want to be, whether it's that close to you or get that comfortable with you, that you feel you have to let down that barrier and become vulnerable to something because you're afraid somebody's going to take from you. Somewhere in that, you've gotten taught, right? And that idea of this maternal figure of it was never enough, right? This is also I'm going to throw it back in your face. So even if you did try, well, the only reason you managed to accomplish X, Y, and Z was because I gave you X, Y, and Z. It's like a mother saying to her child, I gave you life, you owe me. No, you chose to bring me into this world. That's a choice that you made. I don't owe you anything. Love, respect, kindness, yes. Do I owe you for all of eternity because you brought me into this world? No. You know, it's that kind of thing that it's like always feeling like your head is down, always feeling like you owe something to somebody. And I feel like that's something now, Virgo, that you're still carrying with you, is like, well, I have a responsibility, or I owe, or I should be taking care of these people or these things around me because that's what I'm supposed to do. 20 and 30, those are power numbers. What they precisely mean, I'd have to look. It's been a hot minute. 3s and 6s are very important. I feel like there's always been, you know, you take that 6, it's divisible by 3, breaks down to a 2, 3 pentacles. I don't know why I would just say pentacles, but 3 on each side, right? Pentacles or whatever. It's like, even on both sides of any situation that you've dealt with, there's always like an external factor to you or that person. It's a very unique way, but it's like, how can you truly unify? I'm not saying like don't have friends because you have a spouse, but how do you truly unify when your energy is so scattered out into everything else? And then how do you have time to work on you so that you come together with the other things in your life that bridges the gap between two separates to make it whole? I hope that's making sense for you guys, the way I'm trying to explain that. But it's a very important kind of energy. So I'm gonna do a little bit of clarifying here, and then I'm gonna get you guys some advice. This bond, it's again, it's like the need for two to come together. Again, the idea, this crux though, it's like sacrifice, constant sacrifice of something. I don't know. It's almost like either you or somebody around you takes on the persona of you. It's like getting older and going, oh my God, I am my mother, right? Like, oh my gosh, that just came out of my mouth. There could be an understanding to how closely the two things align, or you and your, whoever this is for you, aligns to you somehow. For some of you, this could be a step parent as well. Or again, just someone who's played that maternal role in your life. All right, one card for the Justice, please, Spirit. One card for Justice. Page of Wands. There is this desire, this Two of Wands, the Page of Wands. and I think it's coming into your awareness, Virgo. I think the more experiences you have out in the world, you're getting a little bit of taste of freedom here and there, where there are moments where you may catch yourself with your head held high. And it's like, ooh, I wonder what else is out there. But then the idea of that responsibility that I have to stay firmly planted where I am because these things are requiring that of me, okay? Yeah, and behind that, the Nine of Swords. Like some kind of commitment, some kind of promise that you've made to something is saying there's more here that's needed of you. And there's a constant fear and a constant worry that what if I don't live up to that end of the deal? What if I don't live up to that bargain? What if I don't do these things? And it's like times two. So you could have had a mother like this, and now you have a spouse like this. You know, it doesn't matter. Whatever this maternal aspect is, a lot of feminine energy, where you've had that in your childhood and now having that again in your adult life. So, but it's like you get out, you get that taste of freedom outside of that responsibility, even if it's just for a moment in time. And it's almost like you feel guilt for enjoying life, guilt for feeling something outside of your responsibility. Like how can you feel guilty for being happy? But you were taught to. It's like, you know, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but like Catholic school, I had a lot of friends who went to Catholic school, and it's like, head down, work. I should never see you smile. I should never see, you know, I've heard so many horror stories, and I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody. I don't have that experience firsthand, but from what's been explained to me is it was like that kind of mentality, that it's all work and no play kind of thing. The Sphere, Eight of Cups, the King of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles. Again, afraid to walk away from that responsibility. You know, that King of Pentacles, I mean, I'm not saying like, forget, you know, that you have to pay the mortgage and forget that you've got kids that need taken care of, or, you know, whatever it is. But you're allowed to live. You're allowed to be guilt-free. It's like people who go on crash diets and shit, and they have one bad day and they eat a Reese's cup. And they're like, oh God, I shouldn't have ate that. That was the worst thing I could have done. And they ruminate on that, right? Like, you had a Reese's cup, you slipped up. It's not the end of the world. Pick yourself up and get back on your horse. And same thing with like the idea that, so what? You maybe took a vacation. How dare you, right? Like, go take a vacation. You feel good. And you're like, boy, I would love to, I don't know, surf. I want that to be my new passion. I love that. I had so much fun surfing. But it's like, well, on the weekends, you know, Bobby's got soccer and Sue's got softball, and, you know, when do I fit this into my schedule for me? When do I get to enjoy it? And then, like, if you do take a day and go, listen, hubby, like, you got to go take care of the kids this weekend because I'm going to go surfing. Don't feel guilty for giving yourself the time to breathe. Doesn't mean that you're not responsible. It doesn't mean that you're not doing what you're supposed to. Self-care. That is self-care, right? It's recognizing what you need to step into the light so that you feel more positive about yourself. That not everything falls on your shoulders. A lot of Ten of Wands kind of energy. It's not everything is your responsibility in this world. One day you won't be here. The world is going to go on. They will find a way to survive. You're not responsible for everybody else in your world. They're responsible for themselves. Okay? It's like, let that shit burn. All right, generosity. What is this about, Spirit? Tower comes out sideways. The world, let me reiterate, the world will not crash and burn. But again, I said about those emotions, and I'm going to take these just that way. What is that? The Nine of Pentacles. Sure is individual energy. This Tower is like, you dabble with the idea. Like I said, like, you know, the neighbor down the street, she's got the BMW. She maybe has less than you, but she's really freaking kind. She's really lovely. It's evoking within you what feels like a state of turmoil, that it's breaking up the idea of a false sense of security with that Tower, right? It can be unexpected. But I kind of feel like Spirit is working this into your world a little at a time. They're actually being very soft and gentle with you. They're working this into your world a little bit at a time. They're like, here's a little taste of this. Do you see your emotions? Do you feel your emotions? Allow it to happen. But I feel like your emotions, it's like you're afraid they're going to self-sabotage you because they may have been not validated in the past. When you were a kid, you could have been something that you felt like you wanted to talk about, so you did, and then it got shut down, or you just didn't get a response at all. So it's like, if I open up this door and I have to address these emotions, it's going to sabotage my stability because I've bottled this up for so long that when it opens up, how's it going to stop? It will, once it's released. Okay? It's like, I just want to move on and be calm and be happy. But the things that are falsified in the foundation, that tower, need to be released and let go. And I do think, Virgo, you're working on that little by little without even, for some of you, you're not even recognizing how it's happening. It's like, pay attention to the synchronicities of situations specifically. It's the way, it's not the signs, it's not the symbols, it's the synchronicities. It's the way a pattern is starting to occur in your life that's bringing up some emotions to the surface, or you're meeting people that are more emotionally open than you are, and it's triggering you. Okay? It's all right. It's not going to be the end of the world. It might make you feel like it is, but it's not. But it's like about deepening the bonds. Yeah, ground your energy. There you go. You are that grounding energy too. Stability. I said stability, security. There it is. Performance, growth, and endurance. How well have you performed over your lifetime? Again, there's that kind of like bantering of, well, did you do enough? Did you? Did you do enough? Yes, Virgo, you've done enough. It's okay. It's all right. You don't have to be the beacon of light for everybody else. You need to be the beacon of light for yourself, okay? So, what else for Virgo? Can't make it up. What did I say? They didn't think you were enough. What you did wasn't enough. Look at that. Not enough. What are the odds? Seriously. I love it when the cards come out. They're like, here, let me confirm everything you just said. Thank you, Spirit. Lacking confidence, self-sabotage, ego, fear, and frustrations. Again, there's the mentality of that fear. Not looking good enough, not feeling good enough. The work that I've put in was not enough. It's really being very critical of yourself because somebody was probably critical of you or taught you to be super critical of yourself. There could be somebody around you right now, maybe this is romantic, maybe it is not, you're going to know better than me, where they try to love you. They try to get you to open up. I'm going to say too, if you're like dating somebody, they could, do you ever watch, my favorite Christmas movie was the 1990 version of Miracle on 34th Street. And I can't think of his name, but, what's her name? Elizabeth, oh gosh, what was her first name? Or last name? But she played Wilma in the Flintstones, the human version, right? With, oh my gosh, I can't remember anybody's name right now. Holy shit, I can see their faces. I can't think of their names. But he played in Roseanne, right? And then she played as Wilma, and then in the Flintstones movie. But she also played the role as, can't think of her name, on Elizabeth. I think it was Elizabeth something. But anyhow, Miracle on 34th Street, the 1990s version of it. She's been hurt so much, and this guy is just, he wants to marry her, he wants to live this life with her, he wants to give her and her child everything that he can, and she is just cold and mean and abrasive and is like, I don't need you, but thank you. It's that kind of energy. And it's like, you could have somebody in your world, and it could even just be your kids, who try to get you to open up, they try to get you to feel. And it's like, I can't. I don't want to. It hurts. It is the human nature. It's human nature to want to feel love. to feel accepted, to feel appreciated, to feel comfort. And something here, Virgo, is trying to provide that to you. But you have to be open to receive that. You have to be open to that revolutionary change for you. You have to be open to that rediscovery of the inner child, the you, right? But somebody is trying to love up on you. Somebody's trying to give that to you. The runner, fear of intimacy, running away, intensity, and letting go, turmoil, and fleeting. Come out in the reverse. Old school, outdated thinking, conditioning, replaying events over in your head. I do feel like you're going to get to a point where you can't run anymore, Virgo. Running is going to be too hard. It's going to be too difficult to maneuver and master. And then you have to start to look like there's a bond here with you and somebody that is starting to show you that you can't run from this forever. You can't just pack up your bags and pretend that it doesn't exist. You can't tuck it away and file it in the back of your mind and it's just going to go away. It's always going to be there until you get ready and start to make the moves to get away from, or to heal this, right? To move on to calmer waters, to open yourself up to this awareness. That Six of Swords is an awareness. It's a mental awareness that it's time to move on. It's a decision that she's made. And I do think that this is coming for you. I just feel like it's going to feel, what's the word? Spirit said distasteful. There's a distaste for what is transpiring here, for what your inner child wants you to know. But your inner child wants to be loved. Your inner child wants to be nurtured. It's ready to let go of an old way. You're ready more than anything to let go of an old way. It's just, how do I do that? How do I get there? So, you know, you will get there. Let's see, additional advice for Virgo, please. Step back from the situation. It's regaining a perspective for yourself of how you've let things after a certain point in your life kind of get out of hand and you stayed there. Spirit is saying, don't blame another person and don't even blame yourself. Just go, okay, now I know. And so what if it took you, they're giving me the number 48 years. Maybe you're 48 years old. Who cares if it took you 48 years to figure it out? Make the next 48 the best 48 that could ever have been when it comes to that. Release that energy. Release the connections to that have taught you this. Any grudges, any resentment. I think I said resentment earlier in the reading, did I not? That still sit within that. And that may be a thing that is extremely hard for you to have to look at, because it's like against societal rules of what a mother is supposed to embody, what a father is supposed to embody, and what they're supposed to be, you know, that white picket fence, the family dog, you know, all that good stuff. Why didn't my family live up to this legacy they claim to want to leave behind? Right? Like, why did they not see these things? It wasn't for them to see, it was for them to show you, so that, or to teach you these lessons, so that you could then show this to your children or grandchildren or whatever it might be. So it's putting it all back into perspective now. And Spirit is telling you to keep moving forward. At this point, you know what you need to do. It's a reconnection to how much your life can change when these moments come in that you're willing to take the risk to gain the reward. And understanding that, where are you putting your focus and attention? If you keep it on the past, you're going to continue to relive that past. That over in your head, that conditioned thinking. When you focus on your future, you change the direction in which you're going to go. Right? So, all right, Virgo. I hope this reading helped you. If you found, even if you find it useful, whatever. Like, share, subscribe, comment. It's so great to be back with you guys. I appreciate all the time that you spend viewing the channel, listening, taking in what I give you, and what Spirit presents to me for you. So I hope you guys are doing well. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye.